Whether we're talking about these beautiful domesticated hybrid discus fish or we're talking about wild discus such as these green teffes, all of the process of acclimating these fish to your tank are the same. We'll talk about that when we come back. Hey everyone, George here and welcome back to the channel Aquatic Concepts. Today we are going to be talking about a three-step process that I use for acclimating wild and domesticated discus fish into your community tanks after they have been quarantined. And when I say after they have been quarantined, I think it is absolutely mandatory that you take any discus fish, whether it be a wild discus fish or a domesticated discus fish, and quarantine those fish for at least 3 to 4 weeks before adding them to your tank. Now, the process in which I'm going to get into here is making sure that these fish, before they ever reach your community tank, are in absolutely perfect shape. And I'm going to point out 3 steps that I think are important to getting those fish off to a great start and making sure that you follow these steps very closely. And I can almost guarantee you, unless there's something else wrong with your fish, that any fish that is in generally good health is going to come out of this 3-step process and do very well in almost any tank that you put them in. When we come back, we're going to talk about that 3-step process. Hang in there with me and we'll be right back. So the first step in this 3-step process is using a product called Stress Guard made by Seachem. I love this product because it reduces stress. It has an antiseptic value to it for your fish to get them off to a good start and promotes any kind of healing of nicks or abrasions on your fish that may have developed in the shipping process, either by them being netted at the facility where you're getting them from, or something that may have happened in the shipping process itself. Now, this can be used in both freshwater fish and marine fish, but it's absolutely, I think, essential to add in the first 24 hours some of this to your quarantine tank. Now, when I say quarantine tank, I'm telling you that I want you to put your fish in a quarantine tank and not directly add any new fish to a community tank that already exists. It is so important, as I've always stressed in all of my videos, that you make sure that you are putting your fish in a quarantine tank where they're going to get off to a good start. So like I said, put some of this Stress Guard in using the directions on the back of the bottle to help make it a good transition for your discus fish as they go into that quarantine tank to start any kind of healing process for any superficial problems that they may have with their stress coat or any kind of healing that may need to take place. Now, the second product we're going to talk about here is Paragard. Now, Paragard is an absolute wonder drug as far as I'm concerned. It is very, very mild, and I think it's essential that you use it on any fish that you're bringing into your quarantine tank. We're going to use this product for 3 days basically after the Stress Guard. So in other words, 24 hours after your Stress Guard, you're going to add, after you do a 50% water change to your quarantine tank, you're going to add Paragard. This is going to eradicate ectoparasites, fungal, bacterial, and viral lesions. and start the process of mending those issues if they're something that is starting to develop on your fish. And this is something that you're not going to know right away. Oftentimes we don't do this treatment and we find out that our fish within 3 or 4 days are starting to develop spots on them, such as some fin rot. We're going to start to see sores on them or parasites on them that would be eradicated by using Paragard if you do it in the way that I tell you to. It's so important that you follow the instructions on this. As I said, use it for 3 days and get your fish off to a very good start. Now, you may still see some damage to your fins on the fish or the tail area or even the area around the body of the fish, which will start to heal and may take up to 3 weeks before it's fully healed. That is exactly why I tell you to keep your fish quarantined 3 to 4 weeks so that they get off to a great start. Using this product is absolutely essential in my opinion. I've never had a situation where it didn't work unless there was something more going on with the fish, or the fish was sick with something internal or had a problem that required something a little bit more aggressive to take care of it. But Paragard, fantastic product, and I think that if you've used it before, you know what I'm talking about because I've mentioned it in many of my videos. But I think it's essential when you're bringing in wild discus, domesticated discus, or whatever they happen to be, when you put them in your quarantine tank, that you are using this product. As I said, it's very benign. It will not hurt your biological system or any other part of your tank as long as it's used properly, and it will be absolutely amazing to you how well your fish will respond. Now, the last step in this process is using natural aquarium salt. Now, aquarium salt is important because it has some values that really do help your fish to get off to a great start. It improves gill function, number one, which is very important, and adds essential electrolytes that your fish may be missing. And you don't think of that as being something that's really important, but the bottom line is that using this product, aquarium salt, is something that after that 3-day period, and I'm saying after the 3-day period of using the Paragard, you want to add maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons into your tank, and it will be very beneficial to getting your fish gills healthy, getting those electrolytes, as I said, in balance with the fish, and making sure that they get off to a great start. Now, I don't recommend using this long term. It's not necessary to add aquarium salt to your tank over the long term, but it is important to add a small amount of this, as I said, in that 3rd step of the process of getting your fish off to a great start in the quarantine tank. And they will do amazing. You will be absolutely impressed with how well that they do over just a short period of time, and the difference it makes in how they look and how they behave, and hopefully it will stimulate as well their eating. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the last thing that I just mentioned, and that is how quickly your discus fish are going to eat. And it all really depends on the discus fish itself. I have seen discus fish eat within 2 or 3 days of being introduced to your quarantine tank, and I've seen it take as much as 3 weeks before some fish are eating regularly. Now, the one thing that you can do is have a group of fish in the tank that are already eating, and have them sort of stimulate your new fish to eat by letting them watch those fish over the process, and that will stimulate your fish typically to eat a little bit faster. Do not freak out if your fish aren't eating the first day, the second day, the third day, or even a week to a week and a half afterwards, because many times discus fish or any other fish that is a larger, more expensive fish will take some time before they acclimate themselves to the tank and they start to eat a regular diet. And one of the other things that I want to tell you is to make sure that you are very diversified in the way you feed your fish. Make sure that you're not just giving them live food such as black worms that are going to get your fish eating right away, because you're going to start some new habits that you don't want long term, because it will be hard to break those habits. Now, you may see, as I said, some fin damage on some of these fish up to 3 weeks after they're into their quarantine tank, but I can assure you after 3 weeks, as long as there's nothing else going on, such as a bacterial infection or something like that, that those problems will start to clear up. Fins grow back very quickly, tail nicks and things like that that are caused by maybe a very light bacterial infection or stress are all something that can be eliminated within that 3 weeks if you're doing exactly what I tell you to make sure that your fish are being cared for properly. Now, thank you so much for joining me today. Please hit that like button. Give me a thumbs up on that. Subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends, and leave your comments down below. If you have any questions or you disagree with anything that I've said here today, just leave that information at the bottom and I will try to get back to you within 24 hours. If I don't, then I will get back to you as quickly as I can. But typically within 24 hours, I'm able to get back to you. Thank you again for joining me today, and we will see you on the next one. Until then, take care and enjoy the hobby.